Hi guys, so today we're going to be testing out clip-on nails. I'm sure many of us have seen those videos of people changing their nail tips on TikTok, and I finally got an order in that I placed in November for some of these nails. It does look like there were a few people that had this idea and started making it happen all around the same time. So today I will be testing out Shitu nails, and these ones are fully made, ready to go. And then in another video, I will test out the ones that are a lot more customizable because you have to 3D print them yourself. I am going to visit my dad in about a month and he's going to 3D print them for me while I'm there. So when I bring those home, I can test those ones out for you guys. But regardless, the basis for the nails is pretty much the same. You have a base you put on your nail and then you can change the tips. So you can have short nails when you need to be doing something with your hands. And then when you're just chilling or going out, you can switch to longer, more like decorated tips. I also know I've seen some people make these, and I'm going to be honest, y'all, I do not feel like making these. I will 3D print them or buy them. That could change, but I don't know. So going forward, I'm going to just focus on this brand's nails to keep it easy and simple, and also just the concept in general because I have a lot of questions. With this particular brand, you only had a few options for your base sizes. I bought these nails on the first drop of these back in November, so the options are a little bit different now, and it looks like you have extra small and then custom for your base sizes, so I am glad that they added the custom. And they are $77, so that is quite pricey for some press-ons, but you do also get, like 2 sets of tips with these. And they are handmade. There is a couple other things provided. We got a little baggie, I'm assuming, to store our tips in. We have a little nail glue application kit with a small little file, cuticle pusher, nail glue, and probably alcohol wipe. Oh my gosh. Also, look at the buffer. It's a heart shape. That is so cute. I need 1,000 of these immediately. And then, what is this? This looks like a toothpick. Okay, so this is apparently a nail unclipper, and to remove the nails, we're going to slide the thread as close into the gap between the tip and base as possible, pull up and out until it pops out. Okay, so we got all of our stuff ready. Let's see if these will even fit my nails. I think they will. I do know my nail sizes, and these were pretty similar, so we can probably make them work regardless. So let's pull these out. All right, we got our nail. Here is what the backside looks, and you can see the little, I want to say, mechanism that allows it to clip in. I am so curious if the seam will catch on anything or how easily it comes out. Oh, okay. That was a little bit easier than I thought. Okay, so they are fairly easy to pop on and off. Let's see, will the thumb fit? It does. It looks like it will be a perfect fit, more or less. Okay, might be a little big. That's okay. Got this one. Ooh, this one might be a little big too. Oh no. This one, good fit. Then got this one. All right. I may have to file these a little bit. I definitely can file my natural nails down more lengthwise. There's not much length, but it looks like, I don't even know how to show you this. It looks like my natural nail might hang off the base a little bit, which would be a big no-no because then you're going to end up accidentally gluing the actual tip on, and we don't want that. We want the tip to stay mobile. Yeah, I'm going to have to file these. Unfortunately, there's just no way I can get around that. I want to see how the full tip looks. The longer tip seemed a little bit harder to push in, but there we go. You can still definitely see the seam on it. I'm going to just give these a little file. They also are quite thick. Not overly thick, but absolutely thicker than your average press-on. I think the middle finger is probably the worst fitting, so unfortunately we're probably going to lose some of this outline on it. Okay, I got them more appropriately sized. Gonna be good on that. Okay. Perfect. So now I'm just going to prep my nails. I'll use their little kit, and then I chewed up my cuticles a couple days ago, so we will not be needing the cuticle pusher. Instead, I'm just going to lightly buff my nails. Gotta wipe with alcohol. We're prepped and ready to go. So I am going to take out the short tip while I put these on so I don't accidentally glue it shut. And then I will use their glue. All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on my actual nail. Try to make sure I get like the sides and the top. And then I'm going to put some glue on the tip. And we'll put this on. And here we are. 1 down, 9 more to go. And they are on. Very exciting. Although I do worry that this particular charm is going to catch in my hair a lot. Nowadays, whenever I'm putting big chunky charms on, I will go and fill in this whole area with gel just because I hate catching my hair on it so much. I feel like you rip out a huge chunk once with a charm and you never ever ever do it again. They look good so far and they are very high quality. I can tell with how clear they are and smooth and like thick. They feel really good. I will pop on the other hand in a moment, but first let's actually get some tips in this. So we'll do the long ones for now. Here is with the long tips, and I've pushed them down as far as they can go, but naturally there is just going to be that little indentation. I am a little bit worried about losing the tips just because even if I'm being careful, these I feel like come off a little easily. I'm hoping they last really well while they are in. And, you know, pulling them out is just a different story. So let me pop on the other hand really quick and then we can start our wear test. We got everything fully secured and I'm so excited to test these. This is such a fun idea. We will put these into action. I am most likely generally going to keep the longer tips on because that's just me and what I prefer. But whenever I switch them or try to do some things with them, I will keep you guys updated. So I'm gonna put all of my I dropped one. Okay. Ow. Get all of these in their little bag. I'm gonna leave them like this the rest of the night and go make dinner. And yeah, I will update you guys. So I was intending to test these out for a week or two, but I only ended up wearing them for 3 days and I have a lot of opinions now. I'm going to be a lot more thorough in this part of the review than I normally would be because after I took these off, I tried to look up other people's reviews to kind of see if my experience was similar, and I was able to find virtually nothing. Most of the videos that I could personally find on these nails are from people who make and sell them or people who DIY'd them. And everyone's comments are full of questions about the nails, so I want to hopefully answer a lot of those here. So let's get into it. Now, normally with a wear test, I will take you with me vlog style day to day, but I think sitting down and telling you about my experience would be more appropriate because I did run into some issues with the nails and I did not want to just show clip after clip of issues and have it come off like I'm like really ragging on the product or being super negative because that's not my intention or feelings at all. The material these nails are made out of is very good. The base was super strong. The nail glue was super strong. And I don't think the base staying on your nail will be an issue whatsoever. I know the price of the particular set that I tried is quite high, but I want you guys to keep in mind that most of that price comes from the fact that she hand paints these nails. So that's 4 to 6 hours of work for each set. I want to start off by saying how much utility you get out of these nails will be highly individualized. For some people, these might end up feeling perfect for you. And things that bothered me may not bother you, but something that really bothered me was the seam in the nail. Both the long and short tips caught on my hair a lot. I just finished filming. We already have a hair down. I think I lost more hair in those 3 days that I wore the nails than I did after bleaching it, which was the main reason I only ended up wearing them for a few days. And it wasn't just my hair that they were getting caught on, they were getting caught on like my shoelaces, my clothes when I was changing. On a side note, the charms on this particular set also were getting caught on my hair a lot, and I had to end up filling behind the charms that were kind of floating off of the surface with gel, like I normally do when I put big chunky charms on my own nails. But that is more of a personal preference critique with this particular design. And I do want to note that I only ordered this particular design because it was the only one available when they launched. And because of the charms, when I was sick of them catching on my hair, I couldn't just not wear a tip because the charms themselves hung off the edge of the nail if there was no tip on it. Me being me, I had planned on wearing the long tips 90% of the time and then only switching them when I had a more hands-on task to do. But in my opinion, I think these nails would be best suited for the complete opposite type of person where they want to wear the short tips 90% of the time. After I finished filming putting them on, what you guys literally just saw, I was making dinner and a couple of the tips fell off in my gloves while I was doing so. Because I was wearing gloves, I figured maybe it was my fault, maybe I hadn't pushed the tips in enough, maybe I should have switched them into sport mode before I started a task like that. But I was pretty surprised that it happened a couple times. After that, on that same night, I did have a tip fall off while I was just petting my dog, but luckily I had found it right away. However, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I lost a long tip within 24 hours. The next morning, I was just going about my regular routine, eating breakfast, and then I went to get ready. I was going back and forth to my desk, and when I sat down to film an update, one was missing. It has to be in here somewhere, and I have no idea when or how I lost that one. It is fully gone. The problem is, in Practicality, the longer the tips are, the less stable and secure it's going to be. They do feel pretty snug when you are just like tapping or pulling them in and out, but when they're push, pulled, or brushed up against, they do get kind of flimsy. The best example I can think of, and not everyone is going to relate to this, but I know probably too many of you will, is when you have a full set of acrylics, full cover tips, some sort of extension on your nail, and you accidentally break the tip on one straight off. But you don't have time to either fix it, get it fixed, whatever, and you don't want to walk around with just one broken nail, so you just glue it right back on. And usually in my experience, this will fix it for a little so it looks nice, but it will never be as strong and it will most likely snap again pretty quickly. On the flip side, I only had one instance where a short tip came off, and that was because it got caught in my hair. Otherwise, as far as security goes for the short tips, they are pretty solid. To me, one of the biggest draws of this whole concept is the convenience of being able to switch the tips out when you need to do something. And unfortunately, whether I was wearing the long or short tips, I felt like both added some sort of inconvenience to my life that I would not normally experience if I was either not wearing any nails or wearing long nails. Again, I want to emphasize that not everyone is going to feel this way. It's just how I felt in my life, but my daily routine is not going to be everyone's daily routine, so you might feel differently. For the long nails, after I lost one, for part of the time I wore long nails on one hand and short nails on the other. And I was constantly checking the long ones to make sure they were there. And I was also doing things very, very carefully to make sure I didn't knock any off. And I've been wearing long nails for so much of my life that I don't have to think about them in that way when I'm going about my daily life with them. They don't stop or deter me from doing anything I want to do. For the short tips, they felt quite bulky, and the edge of the nail is too thick to utilize how you would your natural nail. For example, like a coin, it's not going to come up as easily as your natural nail or even a long nail with a thin edge would. But maybe with time, that would have been something that I would adapt to, like I have with long nails in general. Kind of on the same note about the utility of the short tips, I saw a lot of people in the comments of these videos saying they'll be great for healthcare or the food industry. And don't hate me, okay? I don't make the rules. But if you are not allowed to wear nail products, nail polish, gel, whatever, in your profession for hygienic or safety reasons, you will absolutely not be able to wear these for it. I actually think they would be less hygienic and more of a safety concern than just regular nail polish, since there is a seam, pockets, and a risk of the tip coming off. Having said that, I personally don't think they are overtly unhygienic, but I could understand if someone else felt that way. I mean, some people think that long nails are unhygienic and gross in general, but that doesn't concern me. Now let's get on to some positives, okay? I do think that these nails would be great for people who can't have long nails because of utility. Off the top of my head, I would think musicians, people who do a lot of typing. When I did some work on my car, I swapped to these short tips and they were really great for that. Having said all of that, if this brand were to put out a box of clear tips and bases, I would absolutely buy it. If that were the case, losing one of the tips wouldn't stress me out nearly as much because I would just be able to make a new one. Having a box of them could be really useful for someone who can wear long nails in general, but needs just one or two of their nails short sometimes. And it would be really great to be able to customize where you need them for your particular needs. If you've also been curious about these, I hope that this could answer some of your questions. I still want and am going to try out the 3D printed ones, so stay tuned for that. Then while I was looking for reviews, I did come across another person who's making a slightly different design where instead of just the tip coming off, it's like the whole nail. So I am very curious to try those at some point. If you have tried these nails or you've 3D printed some or even just DIY'd some, let me know how you felt going about them in your daily life. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a like. It helps me out a lot and I really appreciate it. And I will hopefully see you next time. Bye!